Yo, John McLeod in the house. Here today to check out a video. It's called What They Didn't Tell You in the Bulls Documentary. So, I mean, I don't know what they have behind the scenes, things they have, but I'm looking like, okay, I am a diehard Mike fan, so let's see what they got to say.
Inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win it! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the foul line. 101-100.
Iconic. Jordan's game-winning shot over Greg Elo to win a first-round matchup in the 1999 playoffs. A shot burned into all of our memories as one of MJ's early defining moments. But what some may not know is that Michael Jordan scored 40 points in this thriller. Oh, wait. Did I say score 40 points? I meant to say averaged 40 points in this series. For 5 straight games, MJ averaged 40 points for an entire playoff series. But then again, dominance of this caliber was nothing new to Jordan because in the season prior, he averaged over 45 points a game against the same Cavs team in the first round of the playoffs. In fact, Jordan averaged over 40 points per game for an entire playoff series on 6 separate occasions.
That's
but
unreal.
When you consider the fact that Mike averaged over 37 points per game in the playoffs for a 5-year stretch, this feat becomes a little easier to wrap your mind around. And with The Last Dance documentary now airing, what better time to discuss 23 facts about Michael Jordan that no one ever told you? Now, these aren't your typical MJ facts. If you're familiar with my facts in the past, you know that I make it my mission to go out of my way to dig up some of the most fascinating, insightful, and oftentimes obscure facts I can find. This video shall be no different. Take the 1993 finals. Let's just ignore the fact that Jordan torched the Suns for 40 a game in the series because the Suns weren't the only ones getting torched. In Game 2 of this series, if you pay close attention, you will notice that MJ is noticeably darker in this game than he usually is. Well, that's because the day before this game, Jordan went out and played 2 rounds of golf in the blistering Phoenix sun. Needless to say, I don't think playing 8 hours of golf in between game days affected his play, since he proceeded to drop 55 points in the following game. Jordan fans know that while at UNC, Michael was teammates with the great James Worthy. But what some may not know is that in his last season at North Carolina, over half of his fellow Tar Heel teammates would go on to be NBA players. In his rookie season, Michael Jordan scored 2,313 points. By far, the most points scored by any rookie in modern NBA history. For comparison, here is Jordan's rookie scoring total compared to the best rookie scoring seasons in modern NBA history. And here's Jordan's numbers compared to rookies from this season. There are about a dozen NBA players on record to shatter a backboard. Michael Jordan is the smallest and lightest. In a 1985 exhibition game, a 21-year-old Jordan eviscerated a backboard, leaving the scene completely unscathed while showering his opponents in shards of glass. And if that wasn't impressive enough, if this guy was about 1 more foot to the right, Jordan would have most definitely jumped over him as well, which would have made this, undoubtedly, the most legendary dunk of all time. Talk about a big what if. In Michael Jordan's prolific career, he played exactly 1,212 NBA players. Of those 1,212, 310 of them never won a single game against Michael Jordan. 310. That means a quarter of the players who played against Michael in their NBA career never beat him. Not even once. And of all the players Jordan faced in his career, the majority of them beat Jordan less than 3 times.
Wow.
In comparison, of the 1,212 opponents Mike faced, only 74 of them never lost to Mike. Some of these players include Dirk Nowitzki, Gilbert Arenas, and I'll be damned, Scottie Pippen. But nearly all the players who went undefeated against Mike did so while he played with the Wizards. On the other hand, Sherman Douglas, a 12-year NBA vet, faced off against MJ 30 times in his career and lost Every
Stop.
single
Sherm.
time. 30 games, 30 L's.
Syracuse. Sherm. Come on.
A pretty unique position in NBA history. Of all the players Jordan faced in his career, Zeke has beaten Jordan more than any other player. Of the 65 games Isaiah went toe-to-toe with Michael, Isaiah won 36. Now, we all know that MJ was a game changer the moment he stepped into the league. But Michael was so good that after breaking his foot just 3 games into his second NBA season, Jordan still made the All-Star team. A 22-year-old second-year player who only played 3 games before the All-Star break, and he still made the All-Star team. Of course,
Popularity.
so he was unable to play in the game at All-Star weekend. Over the last half-decade, the NBA has turned into one big three-point contest. For some players, the influx in threes has been a blessing to their game. For others, not so much. Here's a chart of the top 10 scorers of the 2018-2019 NBA season. The red areas are 2-point shot attempts and the gray areas are 3-point shot attempts. You have Giannis, who prefers to take it inside, Kawhi Leonard, the mid-range sniper, Stephen Curry, who attempted more threes than twos last season, and of course you have James Harden, who attempted over 1,000 three-pointers in a single season. And then there's Michael Jordan, who in the 1987 NBA season averaged over 37 points per game and only shot 66 three-pointers.
I mean, the game has changed a lot,
regular season.
but it shows you how much.
That's less than a single three-pointer every single game, which means that season only 2% of his shots came from beyond the arc. MJ did not need a 3-ball to drop 40 on a man's head. In the summer of 1995, during the filming of Space Jam, Warner Brothers assembled an entire basketball gym fit with a weight room so Michael Jordan could practice during filming. During these practice sessions, Michael would invite fellow NBA players out to get some runs in. Some players, including Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, Reggie Miller, Magic Johnson, and Dennis Rodman. It wasn't until the following season that players said they wished they had never shown up for these runs, since they felt that they had only made MJ even better. Of course, that season Jordan would go on to lead the league in scoring, win league MVP, lead the Bulls to the most wins in a regular season, won a title, and won Finals MVP. Thanks, Reggie. Now, box plus minus is an interesting stat. At face value, it doesn't seem to be very accurate or insightful. But all things considered, with a big enough sample size, it is actually a great indicator of a player's value. And let's just say Michael Jordan was very valuable, since he holds the NBA record for highest box plus minus for a career. And this includes his years with the Wizards. But the greatness does not end there. MJ also has 6 of the top 10 value over replacement seasons. He has the highest career PER in NBA history, the highest career points per game in league history, the highest career win shares per 48. In fact, when playing with the Bulls, Jordan led the league in most advanced statistical categories more often than not, which really is just another piece of evidence for Jordan's greatness. But one of the only knocks against MJ's game was his subpar three-point shooting. Now, he wasn't bad at shooting the long ball, but by his standards, it might have been the weakest part of his game. And yet, in 1996, Michael Jordan finished the regular season shooting 43% from downtown on 260 attempts. That is better than any single season from Reggie Miller, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Russell Westbrook, and Dwayne Wade.
Wow.
At the conclusion of his senior season in high school, Michael Jordan scored 30 points in the McDonald's All-American game, a new scoring record for the event and one that would stand for 18 years. Yet, Jordan didn't even win MVP of the game. Adrian Branch from the East and Aubrey Sherrod from the West both won co-MVP with 24 points and 19 points respectively.
Hold on, who else was in that game?
Bobby Hart, know that name? Pat Ewing, obviously. Chris Mullin. Ed Pickney. Sam Vincent. I can see some of the names they signed over. Lars Peterson sounds familiar for some reason.
Points respectively. And before we continue, let's learn about one of the rarest feats in NBA history. Leading a team to a championship while leading the league in scoring. When you exclude Michael Jordan, here is the entire list of every player to ever accomplish this feat.
Wow. Two big men.
Did you
No,
get
all
that?
big men.
Not
George
a lot of
Mikan, Kareem, and Shaq.
Excluding Jordan, only 4 players in history
I didn't see the
have
first
ever
three.
led the league in scoring and won a championship in the same season.
Oh, Sixers.
Now I'm going to show you what this list looks like when you include Michael Jordan. Yeah. Michael Jordan has led the league in scoring and won a title in the same season more than every single player in the history of the NBA combined. Now, Michael Jordan was raised in North Carolina, but was actually born in Brooklyn, New York, possibly one of the greatest birthplaces for NBA players. Of all the NBA players born in Brooklyn, 10 have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, 19 became All-Stars, totaling a staggering 26 league championships won. In fact, you could make a formidable team with just Brooklyn-born players. But once Michael's family
I know
moved to
Vinny
North
Johnson
Carolina,
was born in
the
Brooklyn.
rest is history. Like at Laney High School, where Michael Jordan did his best Oscar Robertson impersonation when he averaged a 29-point triple-double as a senior in high school. And I guess you could say MJ was pretty good at getting a bucket in the NBA too, since in his 13 seasons with the Bulls, Michael Jordan won nearly as many scoring titles as every single active NBA player combined. Think about that. All active NBA players have a combined 11 scoring titles. Jordan amassed 10 in 13 seasons by himself. Most fans are aware that Michael Jordan was a huge supporter and friend of Kobe Bryant. But what some people don't know is that Jordan was also a huge fan of Allen Iverson. Jordan said that he watched Allen Iverson's documentary 3 times and that it even made him cry, saying, quote, "I love that little guy." And speaking of guys that Jordan has an appreciation for, one of the unsung heroes throughout Michael's career was his trainer, Tim Grover. Tim was so obsessed with making sure that Mike was in peak physical condition that he would go back and watch each and every one of Mike's games and count how many steps he took while on the court and which direction his steps were taken to ensure that he knew where Mike would be sore, how his body felt, and what regiments to complete in the following day, which in the long run saved Jordan's body from potentially career-ending falls like this. The footage used in the Last Dance documentary was sitting around, unused and unseen for years because Michael Jordan refused to give permission to release the tapes. That is, until the Cleveland Cavaliers won the 2016 NBA championship. On June 22nd, 2016, the exact day of the Cavs championship parade, Michael Jordan finally agreed to do the documentary. Coincidence?
No.
I think not. And while we're on the topic of the Last Dance documentary, on Michael Jordan's basketball reference page you can find a Last Dance viewer's guide, an all-inclusive summary of the Bulls' final title run. This includes every game, every play, and even every shot from the Bulls' historic 1997-1998 championship season. This is an incredibly insightful page that you can reference while watching the Last Dance documentary. So whether you're a stat nerd or just interested in some of the more finer details behind the story, I highly suggest you check out this page. Tune into the Last Dance documentary Sundays on ESPN and ESPN2. Go even further down the deep, illustrious, and strikingly entertaining rabbit hole that is Michael Jordan's career. No, this is not a paid advertisement for the documentary. It's just really, really good. I mean, shoot. If y'all want to throw me some of that ESPN money, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. Let me know which fact is the most surprising or the most interesting to you. And as always, until next time.
Probably the fact that he averaged 46 times in a series. That's unreal. No, this one was the biggest one. This one was the biggest one. The fact that Sherman Douglas played this man as many times and never beat him is unreal. It's unreal.
Faced off against MJ 3 times in his career.
The win
and
record.
Lost every single
The win record.
time. 30
That
games,
was the illest.
30 L.
Yeah, that was the illest. Alright, so I just checked out an interesting Michael Jordan documentary, things that they won't tell you in The Last Dance. And it was cool. He dropped a couple nice gems in that joint. Credit to my man. I'm gonna put the original description in the link. I mean, the original link in my description. John Megalodon, like, subscribe, comment. Peace, y'all.
Gee, Johnny, I don't have a dime. Sorry.
Didn't ask for a dime. Didn't ask for a dime.
Bro, brother, bro ham?
Didn't ask for a dime.